rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
To a child, a new bike means everything. Freedom, mobility. It's a big step forward. You can help by donating your gently used bike during Sports Central's 3rd annual bike drive. Every Saturday in September, Sports Central will be collecting bikes in Edmonton and area. Don't have a bike to give? You can donate $175 for a new bike and helmet. Drop off at Bonnie Doon Mall, participating Fountain Tire locations, and at United Sport and Cycle Gateway. Visit sportscentral.org. Brought to you in part by Sports 1440.
Thank you. Far too kind.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, NFL opening night. Fly, Eagles, fly against the ghost of the Dallas Cowboys. Please be as good as I hope it will be. Plus, Oilers training camp predictions. We've seen video. They're all on the ice, 23 strong. Elks need a win Saturday at Commonwealth, and the Jays win, but man, do they need a closer. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues on the entire lineup of 2025 Sierra trucks. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. You know it. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440. We're also on the computer at sports1440.ca, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. After the show, Apple and Spotify podcast accept us, and we love them. And we tweet it out on X. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at JFenwick04. Our guest today will be Bagged Milk. We'll have declinations, and right now it's time for the introductions. He's young, funny, and enthusiastic, and that's why we all agreed he can't speak into a microphone on this show. It would be a career-limiting move for me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody. You can hear him clapping for himself in there. Also, his new glasses are the talk of the town. But you just wait until you see his mutton chop sideburns. They're coming in, and what he's been precision trimming. Can't say anything right now. And he's apparently getting new teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody. I saw that tweet. What are you getting done over there at the dentist shop?
Oh, my goodness. X-ray cleaning checkup, $543. I thought about just walking away.
You can't do that. They come and get you.
Here's like, what are they going to do? Send the creditors after me?
Well, that's what they do,
process
buddy.
servers. Yeah, I've also been going there since I was like 7 years old, so
okay.
I got a pretty good relationship with them. Also, as you know, some listeners probably know, some maybe don't know, my dentist won a auction to sit in on our show.
Right.
So today I said to him, listen, we're at the mercy of you. Whenever you want, just let us know. And he said, yep.
Beautiful.
And that was it.
Okay.
But I'm going to text him and figure
maybe
it out.
you can give him a $543 bill when he comes.
Well, he's already paid probably upwards of that to be on. I don't know what the auction
No,
was,
it was
so
lot.
long ago.
It was a long time ago. I remember it was the late 70s. But you know what? We have reached out, I think. So, and he's busy. Like dentists are really busy. They got things going on, man. Everybody's having stuff done. And, and then there's you. All right. So let's talk about these things one at a time. Can you tell me, Declan, who won the Super Bowl last year?
That would be... I'm not really a sports guy, so let me just think about this for a second. Was it?
Come on.
It must have been the Eagles.
Yeah, it was the Eagles. And by the way, when the Bills win a Super Bowl, I'll let you be completely assy for a whole year.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem at all. But they won, and now they're playing the ghost of the Dallas Cowboys. But, I have a feeling because this is such a delightful turn of events, because not only are the Eagles a Super Bowl champion, but Dallas is doing everything they can to be worse than they've been in some time. But sometimes you get caught on that, right? Is there any chance the Eagles lose tonight?
I mean, there's always a chance. Like, it's first game of the season. It's a division opponent. It's a division opponent, by the way, that kind of now more than ever feels like they really have something to prove. Like after the loss of Micah Parsons, it's unceremonious. Now, granted, that far more of that is Jerry Jones than it is the players on the field, but there's still something to be said for that. There's definitely a chance they lose. Listen, the line is like 7.5, 8.5 right now.
Nice.
I definitely like the Cowboys to cover. But no, there's always a chance. I expect the Eagles to win, but I don't think it's a predetermined result.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm glad you said that, because the whole that sense you get of this book it is a mistake from the sports. By the time you get to be my age, it has beaten you down so badly that you take these moments and you go, no, we're going to be humble about it, because if we're not, then the football gods or hockey gods or baseball gods will make us pay. So I'm glad you said that, because it smartened me up right quick, and I do appreciate that about you. All right, the other thing we should talk about is the Edmonton Oilers. They're on the ice, I think 23 strong. Some quotes out there from Gene Principe about Stuart Skinner, Tony Brar welcoming everybody back. I think Bob was in there. There's lots of talk about how fast everyone is. You'll hear now in the next few days, and it's been going on forever. They probably had it in the 60s. I just don't remember it. It's Lars has been lifting weights and running uphill all summer, and he's in the best shape of his life at 42. And you get these things about players who are maybe on the edges, or maybe they used to be great and they're trying to get great again. But the ice, as soon as it gets in, you start skating, and they do the conditioning tests, and the teams know. I had Dave Lumley on this not this radio station, but this radio show years ago. And he told me about the year he scored a bunch of goals. Everything was good. He got a great contract. He could not pay for a drink all summer. And then the next year he came back. And as soon as Glenn Sather saw him, he goes, "You haven't been working out. You've been partying. I'm going to make you pay." And he did all year. I think he even traded him to Hartford. So there's something about training camp that really does make everything become crystal clear. You're going to hear the good side first, and then maybe you'll hear the bad side second. We're already getting some things about, Zach Hyman. There's a little question about whether he'll be ready. I'm wondering about Matthias Ekholm. Those things will happen. As we go farther along, there's going to be a discussion, I believe, about waivers. The Oilers have 3 guys who are waiver eligible on the back end of the defense, looking for jobs 6 and 7, and they are Ty Emberson, Troy Stetcher, and Alec Regula. And I mean, chances are one of those guys is going to be on waivers. I think it's probably Stetcher, not sure. Unlikely to be Emberson, but we'll see as time goes on. And those are questions, among others, that will need to be asked during training camp. Also want to talk about the Jays. They won, but you get the feeling that, it's like they start the 9th inning with players on first and second. And then it's like, okay, this is, this isn't all that great, but let's see what we can come up with. And that's where we are. So if you're a Jays fan, you hang in there. I noticed the Yankees got lit up in their bullpen as well last night. So it's not easy. It just isn't. Is there something wrong with my camera? Did you not put the that I want the same camera look that maybe I don't know, Julie Christie got in Dr. Zhivago. Can you do that?
Yeah, we can probably make that happen. You know what I kind of like the idea of? I like full screen it. Sorry, Josh, I'm going to take over for a second here. I like full screening you like that.
What do you mean?
Oh, you don't ever watch yourself. That's right.
No. Why does full screen better?
I don't know. It's just so intimate and close up.
Can you see my...
Hold on. We got to start sending you the YouTube link, the StreamYard link, actually, so you can be watching. There's no way for you to see this right now, but right
is
now
there any way
it's just you. Boom.
Is it on is it archived somewhere?
YouTube.
So if you follow the link that I send out every morning on my blog, you can get that even if it's over, right?
Yes. And actually, the other thing is, once the show starts, I'm going to start tweeting out the Twitter link to the video.
Will you include me on that?
Yes, I did include you.
Oh, there
on that.
I am.
Yeah, if you could retweet that as well, that would be.
I'm talking,
excellent.
But I'm not talking. What the hell's going on? Is this on tape?
Up. The Twitter stream that you see on your feed right now is delayed.
Yeah. See, I'm afraid. I see you touching your nose there. I'm afraid that if I touch my nose, people think I'm picking it. I don't want to get caught in that. You seem to have overcome that problem.
Touching my nose?
Yeah.
No, it gets itchy.
Okay.
Amari Cooper retired.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Amari Cooper retired 6 minutes ago from Ian Rappaport.
Wow. How old?
30, 31.
Oh, well,
Way younger than you would think he is. Nicky Northside actually texting in as well.
So, So Raiders, right? So
Raiders.
Like, who moves up the depth chart?
Oh, that's a good question. We're actually going to have to take a look at the depth chart here.
That's the job.
What?
But I ask a football question, you got to answer it. It's not like I have the answer.
Well, no, because like Jacoby Myers is obviously the number one. He didn't want to be there. But then they have Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker. But after that, like I gotta see who they have here.
Okay.
Jack Beck. And wow, that's all they have. They have 5 wide receivers. One of them wants to trade. That's Jacoby Myers. And one of them just retired, Amari Cooper. Brock Bowers might get 2,500 yards this year receiving.
Dirk says when the Jays run into some team that can pitch, there's going to be trouble. That's the issue. This is like Bieber got lit up a little bit in the beginning yesterday. They recovered from that and they ended up winning the game. But that's not going to happen against really good teams. And Bieber is going to be shaky at times. I think he's their best pitcher or damn close. But you need a bullpen to back you up. And when it goes, man, it just goes away. And there's nothing you can do about it. Give Lowetide the baby filter. Come on now. Come on. It won't work. We tried. We did. Oilers training camp should be fun. The next thing I'm looking forward to is PTOs, if they have any. I don't know that they will. I've sort of been hoping for James Reimer, just because then, I think Stan Bowman has to figure out what is a clear upgrade on Stuart Skinner. And I know you're going to say, well, anybody would be. That's not true. So I don't think Reimer reaches that level. Would you be surprised if they ran 3 goalies at the beginning of the year? I would, but that's one way, because I think Bowman is trying to figure out if this team is just a goalie killer or if Stuart Skinner is somebody he can never count on. And I know what you think. You've already told me a million times over, but it is a legit question. This is Ronnie. He says, Lowetide has a perma expression that looks like he's ready to say something slick or facetious at any moment. Probably gas. That would be my guess, right?
I was going to say, I think Ronnie's onto something because you are pretty quick to be slick and facetious. You let it roll off the tongue pretty naturally.
I don't know that that's true. I think you're pretty facetious.
I wouldn't say I'm facetious. I think I'm slick. I wouldn't say I'm that facetious. I actually
Where's your glasses?
Oh,
where are your glasses, sir?
Let me grab them.
I expected a reaction during the intro of the show today. He's leaving. During the intro of the show today, when I introduced you, I said precision trimming. And I thought you'd react to that. You didn't say a word. And you're not saying a word now. Clearly, the show's noon to 2. Pickard gets no love. He saved the Oilers season 2 years in a row and would have been the better option in Game 7 and 6 last year and Game 6 this year. Well, the coach clearly didn't think so. Did we change the lights in here? Are the lights louder now?
It's a guy. You're asking a lot of good questions today, Lowetide. Not sure I have all the answers.
Okay, because the screen that I'm looking at seems a little blurry.
I will say this. It operates on a dimmer switch, so it is pretty easy to turn down.
You jackasses.
Well,
now I can't see. You got the lights in my eye. Did they do it so because Jason needed to see the screen less? Because that does happen.
I don't know, man.
Connor was mucking about. There we go. Here we go. There's, somebody's always got a solution. And now Connor was mucking about, and now I can't see the screen. Declan in glasses is a young Elton John from Danny and YYC. See, I knew something would send Declan into stardom. I did not know it was YouTube, but there's a lot. What do they call them? YouTubers? Maybe you're going to be one of those guys.
I don't think I'm really built to be a YouTuber. Nothing against YouTubers, and what those guys do, I do think is way harder than people give them credit for.
Backstepping quick, man. What are you, a DB?
I was.
Yeah.
Good one too. I was
so
okay.
You say.
I wasn't that good.
No.
I like YouTubers, but like the whole vlog, constantly be yelling at the camera and just being in public, being loud and obnoxious. Not really. I'm like, you probably know this better than Josh as well. You probably know this better than any of the listeners. Like, I'm very quiet and reserved outside of the show. Like, I don't really say much. I don't do much.
Well, yeah.
I wouldn't be one to be down on the streets like, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy, Declan Krueger here from the Declan Krueger channel.
You're right. Tyler Remchuk is very much more that personality. But you've kind of got this Jesus of cool thing going, right? Where you're sort of like, yeah, and
I'm kind of like if James Dean and Tyler Yaremchuk had a baby and that baby had the football IQ of Tom Brady.
I was thinking more of Tom Bosley and James Dean. But
who's Tom Bosley?
No, I'm not telling you.
Damn it. I have to look it up.
In my mind, that was funny. I don't know that it was, but I am laughing so hard right now. We're going to do rumors, and we'll have a lot of stuff, if I can see the screen, about various things that are happening in the various sports. But one of the things that I did see is that Mitch Marner's likely to start on Jack Eichel's wing. And I don't know if I like that. Do you like a right-handed center with a right-handed star winger? I think I'd like lefty-righty.
I get what you're saying for sure. I don't, but here's the thing. Jack Eichel is far and away the best center on that team.
Yeah.
And I want listen, I get what you're saying, but when it comes down to it, I want my best center playing with my best winger.
Okay, so then you want McDavid with Draisaitl.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. No, because Draisaitl truly is a center. You know what I'm saying? Like Mitch Marner can't play center.
Yeah, okay.
So
Stuart Skinner says he wants to set the bar high this year. I want to go to the Olympics and get back to the Stanley Cup final. Chortling going on from Oilers fans, but I hope he makes it. I've always been on Team Skinner. Dorofiev on the other side putting up 40, says Mitchell. Well, they're going to be good. There's no doubt. I think that one of the teams that you worry about if you're the Oilers is Vegas, and then whoever comes out. Like the Central is a mess. It is just a mess, and a mess in a good way because there's so many good teams. I hope the Oilers get to play Dallas again because they have Dallas's number. I wonder about Winnipeg. Winnipeg can never get there. Rockford says, I hate the Leafs partly because of my disdain for Steve Dangle. Steve Dangle's a great guy. I've met Steve Dangle, and I've conversed with him and DM'd and done stuff over the years. He's a terrific guy. I think he's sort of like, I think he makes the Toronto Maple Leafs more human, like they're less corporate when Dangle's talking about them because you can feel his pain. Yeah, and you feel, I like him. So I feel like, the pain that he has suffered, even in the time he's been doing the YouTube videos, but the other things that he's done, it makes it more real and more human. I like Dangle. I'm a Dangle fan. Workplace harassment from E-Town Man. What happened? Did I harass anybody? Why am I hearing music?
You heard that?
Yeah, I did. It was a little guitar jingle, like.
Wait, hold on a sec. You heard this?
Yeah.
What?
I heard it.
No.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it again.
That is okay. We got to get engineering in here because I am going to be using the preview setting a lot,
and I can hear it.
And now,
and I don't hear Jack Diddley.
No, that is what we in the biz call a problem. I'm emailing engineering right now.
after what you did to them over the mouse. You got up and left, man. It's already 12:20 because I can't see my screen because of the lights. I hate to bitch and moan, but there you go. No, I don't look at the clock. I look at my screen. I know what I'm doing. All right, on the way, bagged milk at 1 o'clock. We'll I know what I'm doing. Stop it, the voices in my head. We've got bagged milk at 1 o'clock. We have what have we got with declinations? Is it CFL?
Yeah, Declan CFL today. I now on the show lineup, obviously your show, so totally up to you. I had an NFL, season preview in there at some point. Maybe we break down division.
When can we do that? I'd love to do that.
Well, I put it for 12:40.
Okay,
obviously,
let's do it.
Okay, perfect.
Rumors on the way next, and we got that NFL thing at 12:40. We are so smooth. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
September, back to class and back to carting the kids around. Good news. Until the end of the month at Wolf GMC Buick, get GMC employee pricing on all remaining 2025 GMC Sierras, so you'll have loads of room. Plus, get 0% financing on Sierra light-duty crew cabs. If you're eyeing up an SUV, we have the completely redesigned GMC Terrain and our entire Buick family with incredible prices. And Costco members up to $1,200 additional off the price. Come see us, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small, premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
Blue Jays fans, this weekend and every weekend, you can catch Toronto Blue Jays ball games right here on Sports 1440. Ben Schulman provides the play-by-play. You provide the chips and beer. Check out the Blue Jays this weekend on Edmonton's home for sports. Sports 1440.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
Perhaps by now, your golf game is in fine mid-season form.
Nice shot, Bob.
Or perhaps it isn't. But that's okay. At Colonial Golf Club, you'll find lush fairways, challenging greens, and just enough hazards to keep things interesting. After, reward yourself, no matter how you did, with a post-game recap at Colonial Grill and Bar. Colonial Golf Club, where even bad shots come with great views. Book your tee time now at colonial.ca.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
On Sports 1440, it's Alan Mitchell, Lowetide, Declan Krueger, and Josh Fenwick hanging out, having fun, getting ready for Oilers training camp and first day of the National Football League season. At 12:40, we're going to preview the entire year, and Declan has assured me the Eagles are going to win tonight. And by the way, Declan, do you have a moment to talk?
Well, that's not true. But yes, I do have a moment to talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the break, I heard in my headphones a little guitar music. It shocked Declan. And so he called the engineer. During the break, engineer comes in and Declan explains the situation to him. But Declan doesn't really believe that I heard the guitar sound in my headphone. And so he gets Connor Halliday to put my headphones on. And Connor goes, yeah, no, I hear it. Unbelievable that you would. I don't hear anything. And I told you I heard it. Man, you got to believe me, Buster.
It's not that I didn't believe you at all.
Believe me.
No. This is patently untrue, actually. And I'm going to debunk this right now. It's not that I didn't believe you at all. I wanted to show Connor what had happened because me and him and Brandon and, Donovan, Josh, whoever's on the board, they using the Op PC's preview function to edit audio is something that takes up like a fair bit of time. And it's something that happens very frequently. So for it to come through your headphones was mind-blowing.
How many viewers did we lose between this time he started describing the name of the equipment and now? Oh, 0. 1.
1,000.
All right. Anyway, I just thought I was insulted, and now I feel a little better, even though he could be lying. All right, it's time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself, greatcanadiansolar.com. Connor also came in here and turned the lights way up, and then I couldn't see a blasted thing. Now, Josh went and helped me a little bit. They seem to be back to normal. I've increased the font size to Old Man 75, and that seems to be working as well. The Edmonton Oilers are just quotes coming out from the Oilers. This is, I think, Tony Brar doing good business, so we're going to give him a hat tip and thank the Oilers for quoting Leon saying, this feeling around this time of year is always the same. You're trying to get in the best shape possible, give yourself the best chance to get to that point again. And obviously, they're talking about Game 6 or 7 of the Stanley Cup final. If they get there again, surely to God Almighty, they'll win the thing. Can we all agree with that? I mean, I think everybody feels that way. And I don't think I can take another one of these. I mentioned this quote, Gene Principe saying, this is via Gene Principe from Stuart Skinner. I want to play for Team Canada, be at the Olympics. I want to get back to the Stanley Cup final and finish the job. Amen. And I hope he does it. I'm one of those people in the world who is pro Stuart Skinner. There's about 6 of us. We meet at a coffee shop every Sunday morning for a coffee clutch. But I think this is a guy who was thrust into a difficult situation, played very well the first year, has gotten them through the playoffs and into the final 2 years in a row. But the entire team has run into the Florida Panthers, and a lot of people are blaming Stuart Skinner, while also not talking about the number of goals Connor McDavid has scored or the outscoring that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have done in the Stanley Cup final. My friend Declan agrees with me on this. Yep. Many others don't.
Yeah, this is why I'm, such an anomaly, because I criticize both.
Well, it's your boyish good looks also make you an anomaly.
Well, I appreciate that greatly. I think my thing is, personally, I'm just very, very hot. Like, I am of the opinion Connor McDavid is the best hockey player we've ever seen. Now, I don't think he's the GOAT. I don't think he's the greatest. I think that belongs to Gretzky because of what Gretzky did,
but
what he accomplished.
McDavid could pass him.
I don't think he could pass him in terms of accomplishment. I think Gretzky, honestly, is probably the most untouchable GOAT in team sports. Maybe like Brady would be up there. 7 Super Bowls is insane. But my point being is that McDavid plays in an era where there's so much more sports science and there is so much more nutrition, and the funding that goes into these players is through the roof. And you know what? In 50 years, in 60 years, we're probably going to see someone that makes McDavid look like, a subpar player, because that's just what happens with sports. They evolve and technology goes with it and funding goes into it and this, that, and the other thing. So, all I'm saying is that Connor McDavid is probably the best, most talented player we've ever seen. And when you are the most talented player we've ever seen, you got to win. And when you get outscored by Vasily Podkolzin in a Stanley Cup Finals, there is a problem.
And this comes in from Braden. So you guys are blaming McDavid for the Stanley Cup losses, correct? LOL. No. As a matter of fact, what I'm saying is, and I've said it all along, it is a team loss, but I'm saying if you're going to start pointing fingers at Stuart Skinner, then everybody else has to have that, availability, because it was a team loss. Stuart Skinner in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final 2 years ago did everything he could. The Oilers just couldn't score.
May I reply to Braden?
Sure.
Because my thing is, am I blaming McDavid for the Stanley Cup Finals loss? Listen, they are they probably wouldn't have been there without McDavid. As good as Draisaitl is, and I think we think of him as one of the best players in the world, rightfully so. But McDavid is he's the guy, right? But the fact remains, he is the only player in NHL history to have 9 straight 90-point seasons but not win the cup in any of them. In games 6 and 7 last year, he was +1 with 0 points. Or games 6 and 7 2 years ago, he was +1 with 0 points. In games 5 and 6 this year, he was -5 with 1 point. As the best player in the world, you need to be better in those moments. In do or die scenarios, that's 3 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. He has no goals, no assists, no points, 4 shots, 10 for 31 from the dot, and is -3. So blame is a tough word, but you need to be better.
You also need a little bit of luck. Zach Hyman getting hurt in the semifinals, like right at the end of that series, that really hurt this team. Corey Perry was on the ice with Draisaitl and McDavid. I think that goes to coaching. And this is a comment from David saying another point is that the Oilers have not won a playoff series against Paul Maurice coach team. That's true, but I also think that you can point to several things that happened in the final against Florida where they gave up the middle of the ice. In all the previous series, including the Dallas series, they used the middle of the ice for outlets. And the suffocating Florida forecheck put them on their heels a little bit in the first couple of games, and they abandoned that. And they did the flip up to center ice to try to hit the scoreboard, the Chris Russell move. Doesn't work. In fact, it comes back even quicker. And then they tried to work along the wall. Doesn't work. The Joffrey Lupul play, that doesn't work either with a skilled team. The Oilers gave up what they did best because they were worried about Florida. Screw that noise. You play your hockey. And I think the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup. And I bet you if they get back, and that's a big if, I think you'll see them play their style and not worry so much about Florida. That series quickly became, and I understand there were overtime games, but the Oilers were in it. In Game 6, in the first period, they were in that series. Can't play the way they did. Games 5 and 6 of the Stanley Cup Final was a lot about injury, a lot about not having Zach Hyman there. And sure, Stuart Skinner needs to be better. Connor McDavid needs to be better. But they beat themselves a lot with the strategy they used, which was reactionary instead of proactive. And for me, that's something the Oilers won't do again. JMO.
But you don't think with a healthy Hyman and a healthy Ekholm, they would have beaten Florida?
I do.
Man, I love the confidence. I'm totally here for it. I respect Florida's really good though.
Yeah, but Matthias Ekholm made a terrible pass on the first goal against. Remember that? He doesn't make that pass if he's completely healthy.
Yeah, you're right. Unplayable. Yeah. But they were healthy in 2 years ago. Lost that series as well. Now different teams, granted.
No, I'm just talking about last year, and I'm saying that the Hyman, because Corey Perry was on the top line, 40 years old, had just turned 40 in the final, and they were clearly not the team that they were built to be, and that goes to depth, and that does go to high salaries at the top end, and they've added Evan Bouchard. But based on what I'm hearing about the salary cap next year, that won't be a problem long term.
They trailed for the most amount of time ever in a Stanley Cup Finals and had the lowest save percentage ever in a Stanley Cup Finals. I'm not trying to dog them, but I'm just saying.
No, I understand.
But because the question I was going to ask is, and again, this isn't a gotcha or anything, but you really you think Hyman and Ek would have made up for that? I'm just not so sure. A healthy Hyman, healthy Ekholm.
Ekholm made, you go back and look at every shift Ekholm played in games 5 and 6.
Brutal.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And look, God love him. Heart of a lion,
for sure.
a complete Norseman. He's a Viking. I would never, ever criticize him for his gumption and his balls out play. He is a man, but he was not healthy.
Yeah. And
the coaching staff decided to deploy him with Bouchard, who was also, I don't think he was 100% either. And look, they had some issues in terms of health, and I think they would have won if they'd had a healthy Hyman that would have set up the forward group better, and a healthy Ekholm means that pairing, the Ekholm-Bouchard pairing, doesn't get eaten up, and nor does the McDavid 1-5, I think it's 1-5 or 1-6, 5-on-5 outscoring happen. Wallman also hurt for sure, and that's another reason why Wallman wasn't playing, in my opinion. Plus, there were some weird coaching decisions. They had a face-off with Ekholm on the right side in the neutral zone, and Marchand went jailbreak, and Ekholm's the one guy who's got a groin injury. Everybody knows that he can't get back. Like, that's a screwy Louis thing. He's on his offside. What are you doing? There are all kinds of weird things that were happening in that final. I think the Edmonton Oilers stopped doing things that made sense because of injury and playing guys who were injured. Are you still fiddling with your? Are you needing your camera changed? Is that what's happening?
I was just trying to get the Sports 1440 logo in there.
Oh,
I'm a company man.
No.
I work for the board.
As I
try to line
age,
their pockets.
As I age, this camera is going to have to move back. Eventually, it'll be on Guam. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's perfect right now.
Can you see the lines on my face?
Yeah, like very noticeable. But you know what? I think you look good.
There's a lot of forehead there, but I do have my own hair. I want you to know that.
You have way better hair than I do.
Well, you're wearing a cap. Nobody can tell.
Yeah.
You know who's got good hair is Connor.
You said no.
He shaved this morning. That's how much hair grows on Connor's head. It's amazing.
There's a lot of guys with good flow here.
How are we doing? A lot of people tuning in or nobody?
Yeah, we're if you keep tweeting out the link, I'm sure that'll help to your legion of followers.
Okay, I already did, but I'll tweet it out again. You want me to do it again?
Maybe we gotta if we get to 200 concurrent viewers, you'll have dinner with 6 of them.
I will not.
Okay, so not that, but something like that.
I won't have dinner with you.
Yeah.
No, like a lot of my, I know most of my listeners, to be honest with you. And so it's not that big. A lot of them are like own car companies, like car dealerships. Did you know that? Yeah. I'm just saying, if I were to go out for dinner with them, they'd have to buy.
Yeah.
By
the way, Wolf GMC Buick, they should toss us some free cars. Speaking of dealership,
we love Wolf GMC Buick and the relationship we have right now. Without
they're some
them,
of the nicest people ever over there.
Yeah, without them, you and I are taking back the empties every day.
Oh, twice a day.
Oilers Nation has tweeted out the Edmonton Oilers had the fewest high danger shots against, 526 last season, and Skinner still had an 896 save percentage. That's a major problem. You bet it is. There's no doubt about it. But as we went into the year, we talked about, Skinner 2 years ago was a good goaltender. They looked this summer. They didn't find anybody. He got them into the finals 2 years in a row. Now, I think they're going to upgrade by the deadline. That's what I believe. But I also understand that Stan Bowman, I haven't seen, if I did, I'd tell you, I'd write about it. I'd write 3 articles a day at The Athletic about it. But I don't see a clear goaltending upgrade that's available. People keep throwing out names, but I mean, are you sure? Because guess what? If you have a goalie that you have gone to the Stanley Cup final with 2 years in a row, and then you got another goalie and it's a downgrade, and you're Stan Bowman, you are going to absolutely hear about it. I think we can agree with that. All right, it's 12:38 on the way. We're going to talk about the NFL. First game is tonight. Eagles v. Cowboys. We're going to preview the entire league in about 12 minutes, straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and on YouTube.
Has time. Now locates Barkley out of the backfield. Barkley slips 2 tackles and picks up the first down. Spin up in the air to the 30. A gain of 14 for Barkley with some nifty moves along the way. Was that not the
Learn more at japamachinery.com.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and you'd think that as a used RV expert, I'd be a real do-it-yourself guy. Oh, I know all the dirty and grungy stuff that has to be done to keep your quality used RV healthy, and I actually don't like doing it. That's why I hired a whole service team at No Bull. I get to talk about it on TikTok, and they get their hands dirty.
Gotta be some perks to being the boss, Rick.
That's right, Bob. It's only fair that I share it with everyone, which is why we created our Camp Ready Club. Here's how it works. For one low monthly cost of just $30, we'll do your spring opening, fall closing, and all your regular scheduled maintenance on your used RV.
Plus, club members get priority discounts and perks as well.
You know it, Bob. Camp Ready means you've got everything you need. But if you require service or repair during the peak summer season, Camp Ready members go to the front of the line to get you back to the great outdoors faster.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. We are live on YouTube and Sports 1440. I'm wearing my Jeff Buckley t-shirt today. His version of Hallelujah, I think, is the best. Sam is entering the room with his gigantic rock and roll hair. He could be on Platinum Brunette if they were a band. Can you sing at all? Okay. We're going to get him to a karaoke bar and invite you sometime in the future. Before we get to talk of NFL, I got a couple of things here. Lowetide, I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany. And then had to pull over to say, pull Declan's credentials. If he doesn't think Hyman was an impact player when he was out, wasn't he leading in hits per game at the time? And he was scoring like crazy. So, yeah, I hear you. But he did say win the Stanley Cup without him, and I did say yes, but we can have a disagreement. It's okay.
Obviously, Zach Hyman's an impact player. I'm not acting like he's not, but my argument
sound defensive.
Well, my argument was, and this is the, where the argument comes in, and this is where the disagreement and the debate can come in. Is Zach Hyman that good that he comes in and all of a sudden you don't trail for the most amount of time ever in a Stanley Cup Finals, and you don't have the lowest combined save percentage ever in a Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, the puck's on the other end a lot
right.
more,
So maybe he's good for the first one, but
the second one too, because the puck's at the other end a lot, and you improve the depth chart because Corey Perry now is playing second, third, and fourth line right wing.
I think a lot of people kind of look at Zach Hyman with rose-colored glasses. Like, he's obviously a tremendous player. He's an impact player. He's a top-line right winger. He's tremendous. He's great. I'm happy he's here. And he's here at $5.5 million, which is incredible value. But I just think...
Did you watch the final? Did you watch the playoffs? He was everywhere.
I know. He's a great player, Lowetide. And of course he would have had an impact. What it boils down to is, for me, I just think Florida, unfortunately, was that good of a team.
No,
and I don't think Zach Hyman on his own wins that series.
The first two games went to overtime, right?
Yeah.
I
How'd
think
the rest of the series go when they trailed for the most amount of time ever? Had the lowest combined save percentage ever.
Understand I was going to say another sentence and then another after that. They got themselves into a series They didn't have Hyman. They didn't have a healthy Ekholm or Bouchard or Wallman. And they did win one of the overtime games, and then they were absolutely changing their style of play. I think with Hyman there and a healthy defense, they would have played that differently and they would have won it. And I also think that they were, you know, when people talk about, you know, during the regular season that they had X number of high danger chances that were below that, the Florida Panthers were scoring on breakaways. They were scoring like the defensive coverage wasn't great because guys had, you know, groin injuries and things were occurring. So, and that play, I go back to it, the first goal against in game number 6 where Ekholm sends an errant pass, Bouchard can't get over and cover it at a time. And then there's the poor defensive coverage from Bouchard, Ekholm, and then a poor play by Skinner. All contributed. Those were all bad. But the play starts with an absolutely ghastly pass that Matthias Ekholm wouldn't do in a million years if he were healthy. So I'm not making excuses, but I am saying there were reasons the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup, and one of them was Zach Hyman not being in the lineup. Now,
I agree with that.
We promised everybody that we were going to talk about the NFL, so let's do that. Where do you want to start? We've already talked about the Eagles, so let's not do that.
Well, how do you want to go about
give me
preview here?
Give me your. Okay, let me do this.
Do you want to do like the winners by division and then wild card team? Like, how do you want to?
I want to do this. I would give me your 5 or 6 teams you think could win the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's a good question. So the Eagles are in there for sure, right?
Giddy up.
Yeah, they have to be obviously defending champions. The offense, I mean, look at it, still has Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley. Defense took some hits in the offseason. They're still right there. Buffalo, I'm going to put in that conversation just because Josh Allen's the league MVP, and I do think in my heart of hearts, I don't know if they can win or if they will win, but I think they deserve to be in the conversation of teams that can win. Baltimore, they're my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, I know you've had them for a time.
I'm really high on Baltimore. They still, I mean, the receiving core is still, it's always been a problem, Lamar's entire tenure there, but you know, maybe Zay Flowers is something. The Chiefs, you have to include them in that conversation.
Always.
Yeah. When you look to the rest of the NFC, like, I don't feel like it's a certainty for Philly to get there, but I don't know which team jumps off the page to me in the NFC. I think San Francisco is going to be a team that is obviously much improved from last year. They still got, you know, Fred Warner, Trent Williams, CMC. Like, these guys are arguably the 3 best players at their position. And they got a good quarterback in Brock Purdy, and they're very well coached. There's something to be said for that. And then I guess if I had to throw one more team out of the NFC, although I'm really not as high on them this season as I was last season because of they lost both their coordinators. Detroit, I think, is a team you still have to put in there.
You still like them better than Green Bay by a lot or a little?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not overly high on Green Bay, but it seems like everyone else in the world is. So maybe there's something to be said for that I don't understand, but I like Detroit in the NFC North more than Green Bay.
So Green Bay is the Zach Hyman of the NFL.
In what capacity?
You're not as high on them.
I think Zach Hyman's I think he's so good, and I think he's such good value.
Okay, we're going to.
And I don't think Green Bay is that good with that good value.
Caleb Williams win the Rookie of the Year award.
Well, second year now.
Oh, sorry.
Second year now.
Sorry.
So, yeah, no.
But will he be a top 10 NFL quarterback?
I think top 10 is too much. But I'll say this about Caleb: he's got a lot around him, and he definitely needs to take that step. And I think he will. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a good quarterback. Now, it's tough because he might always be compared to Jaden Daniels because they went 1-2 in the draft. And Jaden has looked like something incredible last season. We'll see if he has a bit of a sophomore slump this year. I don't think Caleb will be a top 10 quarterback, but I think he'll be much improved.
If you were playing fantasy football and you had a draft today, who would be your number 1 overall pick?
It's got to be Jamar Chase in PPR leagues, right? Now, I don't think Jamar Chase is going to win the Triple Crown again, just because that's so tough to do. And obviously, when you have a season coming off that, the only thing the defensive coordinator does for a week before they're playing the Bengals is scheming up Jamar Chase. Now, that's obviously not actually true because that team still has T. Higgins and Joe Burrow, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of focus on him. So I don't think he's going to win the Triple Crown again. That said, I think the Bengals defense is really bad. I think they're going to be in a lot of games where they have to air out the ball and score the ball. And I do think Jamar is that good, where he's going to get a lot of catches, a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, and he's playing with one of the 4 or 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL and Joe Burrow. So Jamar Chase 1-1 fantasy pick.
This comes in from Propane Pimp. Eagles, Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. If two of those teams are not in the Super Bowl, call me shocked. Do you agree? He's got the Lions in there.
Eagles, Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Bills, right? Yeah, I would like the Packers is the one I would think of as the anomaly. But overall, I'll say this to Propane Pimp's text: if one of those teams is not in the Super Bowl, I'd be shocked. I honestly could see the 49ers getting out of the NFC.
Yeah, it's hard.
I don't
to do
love
it
that
2 years
pick,
in a
but I
row.
could see it.
Right. Dawson says the most intriguing quarterback this year is Lawrence. He's either one season away from having another Johnny Manziel in the CFL season or a breakout year. Do you agree with that?
Well, this is the thing for me with Trevor. Like, Trevor Lawrence is far better than Johnny Manziel, and he got $275 million from the Jags, right? Like, he's their guy. He's going to be their guy. What I would say is that this is the last year Trevor Lawrence kind of has the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, they won 4 games last year, and it was kind of like, oh, like, what was going on there? They didn't have a lot around him. But, like, you got Brian Thomas Jr., who's a great receiver. If you're that good, you should be able to elevate the team on your own. And if he doesn't do it this year, like I said, I think he loses the benefit of the doubt.
All right.
And rightfully so, I may add.
Are on a scale of 1 to 10, are you looking forward to the Bills season, or is there a little bit of dread?
No, I'm looking forward to the season, obviously, because you know me, like, I just love football so much. And here's the thing. I get to cheer for a great team for 17 games. The playoffs is when I get a little bit more nervous, just because I've seen how that plays out for literally 5 years in a row now.
Does Tim Tebow make a comeback?
No. You had me thinking for a second.
But the quarterbacks, you never know, right?
He's doing what he needs to do. An interesting question about the quarterbacks is, like, will Kirk Cousins end up on a different team, or like does a Super Bowl contender have a quarterback get hurt and they trade for Kirk Cousins or something like that?
T-shirt Scott says, as a Cowboys fan, I'm getting ready for the season by wearing my Jerry Makes Me Drink T-shirt. So I get, the only thing I'll say is, what if they surprise the Eagles and then they have a pretty good year? Like, sometimes a rookie steps up, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like, I think Dallas has smart people, just not the owner, who's also the general manager.
It's tough to be the owner and general manager, right? Like, that's a lot, especially for an organization like the Cowboys, where you kind of always have the weight of the world and the expectations on your shoulders. Like, it's the Leafs, it's the Yankees, it's Manchester United. You know what I mean?
Do you think that, and I'm asking an honest question here, it might sound like I'm not, but I really am. I'm sincere. Do you think the NFL needs to step in and make it illegal for an owner to be the general manager?
No, because I don't think, like, honestly, it probably does more worse than it does good. You know what I mean? And, like, no owner as the general manager would ever tank things, because all it does is hurt his bottom dollar. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't have a problem with it. I think it does more harm than good.
I remember Ted Turner when he tried to be the general manager of the Atlanta Braves. I think they banned him for a year from baseball. I might be wrong.
Well, Ty, I didn't even ask you, what's your Super Bowl matchup look like?
Oh,
I think if I had to bet, I'd go Ravens over Eagles.
Well, I'm gonna say Eagles v. Bills.
I like that. And you have the Eagles repeating?
I don't know. I mean, I'll have to see the season, but I will say the Eagles will win, but I might be lying because I don't know how good the Bills are. I think the Bills, like, for me, the Bills are in a really good spot, and I'll tell you why.
They are.
Because they kind of have a chip on their shoulder. Like, nobody believes in them, right? Like, they're like the Raiders. You don't remember the Raiders, but the Raiders used to love it when they were underrated, when people didn't count on them. When they were counted out, the Raiders had you exactly, because they would rip flesh. They're like weasels. The Raiders were the filthiest team in existence. They knew it, and they loved it when people came in and thought they were going to have an easy time of it. I mean, they had Biletnikoff with the stickum. They had Kenny Stabler, who was like, I mean, I can't even describe Kenny Stabler as a football player or as a human. He just was like an outlaw is what he was. But they had really, Casper was a great tight end. They were a great football club, but there was a sense of, the Raiders, they'll never do it again. And then they would. So I think the Bills are everybody's like looking past them, and I get why, I understand why. But I think that might be a really good spot for Allen and the Bills.
I get it. The only, I just can't not go back to what I've seen every year. There's too much tape of what happened.
They've broken your heart is what they've done.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been there. I was there with the Expos and the Eagles forever. And I can never complain about the Oilers. They won 5 states. Anybody my age who bitches about the Oilers really has got to go and give themselves a good head shake. That's the truth. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. 5 Stanley Cups in 7 years, and then you've had a couple of decades of nothing. Well, have a nice day. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Surprise AFC final, Steelers v. Dolphins. What do you say?
I don't know about that. I
could too much of a long shot. He didn't say the Browns, did he?
I'm actually higher on the Dolphins than most people. This was, I think, with all due respect to Sean, I think this was a joke text. I'm actually higher on the Dolphins than most people, and I think the Steelers could be a wild card team. So
I never count the Steelers out of anything, especially the playoffs.
They kind of like Mike Tomlin. It's great that he has these winning seasons every year, but they're stuck. They are stuck. They need at least a playoff win.
Well, you know what they need, and I'm going to go old school on you. I think it was the Steelers were garbage for a long time, and then I think it was in '74. Maybe it was earlier than that, but they had the draft for the ages. They got Lynn Swann, and they got John Stallworth, and I might have gotten Mike Webster. They got a pile of football players in one specific draft. And that's what made the Steelers of my youth the Steelers. They already had Bradshaw from like 69, but he had a chance to develop, and he became a great quarterback. But they built around him, and they had Stallworth was almost as important or more important than Lynn Swann, because Stallworth was a different kind of a receiver. That's what because the Steelers aren't drafting high ever, but you can still draft well in the NFL, and that's what they need. They need like 5 Pro Bowlers in 1 year, and then they'll be right back where they need to be. I mean, I know it's not easy. I get it. People complaining about the Oilers not winning the Cup, despite being a top 2 team the last 2 years, are the same people who would say, my steak's too juicy, my lobster's too buttery. What do you think of that, Declan?
I disagree. I think it's fine to complain that they haven't
spoken just like somebody who would say, my steak is too juicy.
I'll also say this.
My lobster is too buttery.
Well, I don't like butter. But to your point,
again,
to your point, like you saw 5 Stanley Cups in the heyday of the Oilers, and boy, I bet it was magnificent.
What I remember
for someone
was
for someone like me who's 26 to 29, I didn't have that. And I'm watching the best player in the world, and maybe the second best player in the world, not get it done when there's an expectation to get it done. That's tough to watch year in, year out.
Here's what I think happened. What time is it? Holy Hannibal.
Time for a break.
I'm going to tell you what happened on the way after this break. We have bagged milk. I'm totally lost track of time. I can't see my computer screen. It's an absolute train wreck. You've got to stay tuned for hour 2. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 on YouTube as well. Time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Edmonton Elks have signed defensive lineman Jordan Williams. The club announced today he joins Edmonton after 2 seasons with the Argos, where he became a Grey Cup champion in 2024. And over his career, he's had 19 games with the Argos, recording 22 tackles and 2 sacks. News around the sporting world is Ben Simmons apparently contemplating retirement as he remains a free agent in the NBA. And the Eagles tried to trade for Micah Parsons, but were rejected by the Dallas Cowboys. Other news in the NFL world, Amari Cooper has told the Las Vegas Raiders he will be retiring. MLB action gets going in about an hour and 10 minutes time with the Phillies and Brewers, Dodgers and Pirates at 4:40, and The late game will see the Yankees in Houston taking on the Astros. U.S. Open women's singles semifinals. 5 o'clock today, it's Ariana Sabalenka and Jessica Pegula in the first. Then at 6, it's Naomi Osaka and Amanda Anisimova in the other. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Center. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit greatcanadiansolar.com and call today to get started.
It's the Brick's famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
I'm a little hungry.
I've got Booster Balls from Booster Juice.
Booster what now?
Booster Balls. They're little protein bites packed with nutrients. Chewy, crunchy, yummy, and new flavors all the time. Like this little guy. The new mint chocolate Booster Ball. Peppermint, cocoa, coconut, peanut butter, maple syrup, all rolled up into a delightful little bite-sized snack.
Why am I just hearing about this now?
Oh.
Can I have one?
No.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
The biggest game of the season, your Edmonton Elks Labor Day rematch with the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday, September 6th. It's the next gen game presented by National Bank. Kids get in free with a paid adult P5 ticket, and tickets start at just $20. Score yours at goelks.com.
At jackpotcity.net, you can do amazing things with just one casino chip. Discover a world of incredible casino games with over 500 high-quality online slot games, including the world-renowned progressive jackpot slot Mega Moolah. Play for free at jackpotcity.net and get treated as a VIP 24/7. So visit jackpotcity.net today on your tablet, laptop, or mobile. Jackpot City, a whole world of casino games. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. This is not a gambling website.
Hey, hey.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Brought to you by .com. All right, we're into hour number 2 and delighted that you're here. 4 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we're joined by Bagged Milk from Oilers Nation. Bagged, how are you, man?
I'm doing wonderful, Al. It's a little cooler today. A little smoky for my liking, but generally speaking, I see Oilers on the ice, and that's what I'm excited about.
The smoke seems to be dissipating as we speak, though, right?
I hope so. I really don't like that this is our summers now just turning into a smoky, hazy existence.
It's really unacceptable. One of the great things about Edmonton and central to North Alberta is that we get so much more sunshine than all of the other heathens, right? So that's a good thing. But when the smoke comes in, it's not as cool.
No, because now you're trapping us in our houses at a time when we're all supposed to be outside. It's very unfair.
Well, and I bet Frank hates it.
He is not a fan of the smoke at all. He does not like it. He doesn't like what it does to his nostrils, his eyes. He rubs his face on the grass. He doesn't like it. So he's also trapped inside, and that is just not good for my guy.
Okay, let's talk a little Edmonton Oilers. Everybody's got 10 fingers and toes. They've gone through whatever, they have to get here. 23 players on the ice, I think. Training camp just around the corner. Nobody's, I don't think, done any physicals, and that's going to be an issue. But everything seems to be going well. The Oilers took their time. I have to say, there was like 5 or 6 days there where there was no response after John Shannon and then Ryan Rishaug's comments. But they finally, got together and found a microphone and reassured everybody. How are you feeling about McDavid's contract and the year to come and the training camp that we're going to see?
I'd be lying if I thought that this wasn't going to be done already. I thought it was going to be a late August, maybe. I mean, we're still in early September, so there's lots of time, but I thought it might be done already. But at the same point, I'm trying not to let the reports from the John Shannons that this may go into the season, or even Ryan Rishaug echoing the same sentiment. I'm not trying to focus on that too much. Like, I'm trying to really zero in on the words that came out of Stan Bowman. I know he did something with LeBron at The Athletic and Jeff Jackson on Stauffer's show. They're both very confident. So I'm trying to just lean into that and trust the process and believe what they're telling me. And that's kind of how I'm living this right now. Because I also thought there would be other contract deals signed. I thought maybe Wallman would be done right now, maybe Podkolzin. So it seems like the McDavid decision's pushing everything down the line, which makes total sense. But, we're getting close now. Let's get some business done.
Well, and I also think that we are two things. Number one, Connor McDavid is a start as you mean to go guy. Like, he's a pretty sincere fellow. I don't think he would hold this organization ransom. It's his team, for crying out loud. Secondly, there are some unusual things this summer to consider. We're hearing about a massive increase in cap next year. So he may be, McDavid, and his agent, talking about how best to go about it. Maybe it's shorter term to wait and see how far the cap goes in the next 2 years, or he might be looking at a contract that benefits himself, but also the Edmonton Oilers when it comes to procurement next summer, which is going to be a big summer for this organization. All of those things could be true.
Yeah, and I think they are. I think, even back to his 8-year extension the first time, he signed for 12.5, but we all know he could have signed for more than that. And it seemed like, at least, I think it was Bob McKenzie, if I remember correctly, who said that Connor wanted to take a little bit less on that deal. So I don't see why he would think differently. That said, when you do look at the cap and it's going to shoot up like a rocket here over the next coming years, being a pro athlete is also a finite timeline. So maximizing your earnings during that period is important. And I think with a player like that, if he signs a long-term deal, like an 8-year contract, I'd love to see it as an Oilers fan. But I also think his agent will probably be like, all right, Connor, let's slow down now, because your percentage of cap at that point is a fraction of where it could be. And I think that's the number we probably should focus on, is percentage of cap as opposed to what the actual number is. Because with him, it's a blank check. Write him whatever he wants because he deserves it. But I also won't be surprised at all if it turns into a 3 or 4 year extension, knowing that the cap's going to shoot up and he's going to maximize his earnings.
We were talking last hour, Bag Milk, our guest now. Last hour, we were talking right at the end of the hour, and I rambled on too much, so we had to take a break. I was talking about the idea that for the Edmonton Oilers, in my opinion, the Connor McDavid draft occurred, and I remember talking to people, and I'm like, oh, no, there's going to be 5 or 6 Stanley Cups. And I think when you go into any period of time where your expectations are so high, that disappointment and then panic sets in. And that has been sort of the situation with a lot of fans, where maybe they're not even enjoying as much as they should of what has been a wonderful career by Connor McDavid. And this team's last, say, 5 years or so has been, exceptional to watch because they're so worried about, not winning that Stanley Cup, number 6 in Edmonton Oilers history. And so instead of sort of observing and witnessing and being part of history, there's a sense of just absolute bitter disappointment combined with small amounts of rage towards management. And that's what makes us here instead of maybe enjoying what is going to be a Stanley Cup season.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves to stop and smell the flowers a little bit because, you and I have done this a long time now. If you had even told me during the hope era of the Oilers' first rebuild that they would even make the playoffs, I would have been ecstatic. There were years we were doing this, Al, where they were basically out of contention by Halloween. And you go, all right, well, let's start working on the draft prospects now. So the idea that the Oilers are a team that is a real contender for the ultimate prize, and they were right on the doorstep the last 2 years, that's exciting for me because we are miles, international flights away from where we were at the beginning of the rebuild during the Steve Tambellini era. So I think it's important to enjoy it because not only is the sport fun to watch, you've got two of the best players in the world in Connor and Leon, and they're doing stuff that is so abnormal on a nightly basis that we almost need reality checks that this is not normal what we're watching. This is outlier stuff, and sometimes it's just fun to enjoy it.
I think that one of the hopes that I have for this organization is that last year it was like, everybody get ready, rest, make sure you're ready to go. And that didn't work with a Tinker's Dam because everybody, a bunch of players got hurt, and that's going to happen. So I think the key is probably going to be, and I think Stan Bowman's done it, he's marbled some experience with youth, and we'll use the forward wingers as an example. He's gotten Savoy and Howard ready to go, but he also picked up Trent Frederick, Andrew Mangiapane. There's some few other guys, some outliers like Thomas Sek, who might end up being something. Podkolzin returns. Nuge can play center or wing, same as Henrique. We don't know about Hyman, but he'll be here soon. They've marbled through a combination of youth and experience, but they do, I think, have more depth, and they have fewer guys who are slow, and that should help this organization. Even if they do get hurt, I think they do have some options available who might be able to step in as plug and play. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. And ultimately that goes back to something we've discussed on the segment a lot over the summer, is just having that competition at those positions. Regardless of where guys are playing, you want the next man up mentality, and maybe even too many players for the roster was an ideal thing if you can fit it under the cap. So competition is going to be hugely important. I like that they have a couple younger players mixed in Isaac Howard and Matt Savoy. Vasily Podkolzin is still obviously a young man. So you look at the roster, and all of a sudden, it looks like to be in a little bit more balanced than maybe where we were. I think even if you take Adam Henrique out and then replace that with a younger player, then all of a sudden your team isn't that old anymore. So I think that they're in a much better spot. I think there's a much better blend. Last year it was all veterans. This year we got a couple of rookies that we expect to make some noise. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a different mix. I think a different mix was needed, a little bit more speed. There's still plenty of skill. There's still some grit with Trent Frederick in there. So I'm looking forward to the year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this group can do. They're going to have a rookie tournament between Calgary and Edmonton next weekend, Friday here and then Sunday in Calgary. I've gotten like tons of people asking me, is it going to be, streamed on the Oilers side? And I'm like, well, unless they have lost, consciousness, they'll know that a lot of people want to see Savoy and Ike Howard. And it to me, it reminds me of how just central this team is to this city, where any glimpse of Taylor Hall on some grainy camera out of Penticton in 2010 fall was viewed by thousands of people. This Edmonton Oilers team and the relationship they have with Edmontonians and with Oilers fans is, I mean, you could say the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but it's very rare in sports to have this kind of relationship. Yeah, 100%. I remember Connor's rookie year. I don't remember now, Al, if it was the Golden Bears or Nate at that point, but when the rookies used to play against one of the schools in town, I remember going to that game, and it was a sold out. The arena was sold out, and that's for essentially a scrimmage. And yeah, this city just loves the Oilers, and there's no better example than me from OilersNation.com talking to you on 1440 about a team that hasn't played in months. And we do it every week, and we're going to keep doing it. And our sites are all thriving. And there's an appetite for information about this team that is unparalleled in the league, in my opinion, because it's not like Edmonton is small, but it's also not a huge market. So the passion for the Oilers is it's sky high, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love Oilers fans. They're the best fan base on earth. I want you to tell me the biggest surprise we're going to see in the next month from the Edmonton Oilers. Ooh, biggest surprise. You know what? I'm going to say it, and I'm going to prepare myself, and I'm going to open the door for being wrong. But they're going to trade for a goalie. Wow. How's that for bold? That is very bold.
Well done. I put you on the spot, and after I did it, I regretted it. But I thought, nah, this guy's a veteran. He'll come up with something, and damned if you didn't, hit it out of the park. That would be very interesting.
It would be super interesting, and it would be bold, and it would create, again, some more competition between the crease. It's one of the most important positions on the ice, and I'd love to see it. I'd love to see more competition. I don't want anybody to feel secure in their jobs outside of Connor and Leon.
And you and I.
Of course.
Right.
Of course, yes.
This show is on YouTube now. Do you spend a lot of time on YouTube?
I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I've been talking to Gregor and Wanye about how this 1440 page is getting set up. So I'm excited to see it rolling. I love seeing everybody on YouTube. So go subscribe to the channel. Good stuff happening in Edmonton sports right now.
Well, I can't go shirtless anymore, and the staff is happy. But, I do what I can for the team.
Or maybe you pop that tarp off and we get more views coming in on YouTube. Now we've got an extra platform to take care of.
I don't think that's how it works, but I appreciate your confidence. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Al.
There you go. Back to the Oilers Nation. Interesting. Trading for a goalie before opening night. I know a lot of people on my blog, specifically Raja, I believe, who has predicted that really since the Stanley Cup final. So maybe that would be wild times. We're not going to go into the names again. I just can't take it anymore. On the way, more of your comments about what we've talked about. And then at 1:40 today, it's Declinations. We're going to be talking Canadian Football League. Big weekend coming up for the Elks and others as well. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for. Call Mr. Rooter.
The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Test drive the ultimate evolution in luxury. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $5,000. Finance or lease a 2026 XC40 from 2.99%. Come and discover.
The Nats beat the Marlins 10-5 in your EPH Brothers free pick of the day cashed again. Not bad.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues on the entire lineup of 2025 Sierra trucks. GMCBuick.com. Am I overmodulated or is it just my headphones?
Speak again real quick.
Hello.
Oh, that's overmodulated.
Yeah.
Speak normally.
Okay.
You're right. I'm turning it
I
down.
just feel like I was a little overmodulated there.
Yeah, you were right.
It's from years and years of listening to headbanging live rock and roll music, like Live at Leeds. Good day. I'm a huge Oilers fan, a diehard. Fully agree with you, LT. The 97 is fabulous. I know I'm on my own here, but hypothetically speaking, if there's a draft, no salary cap, I take Cale Makar at the first pick. He's the guy who provides the best chance of winning. He's the modern day or he's the best player on the planet. From Saskatchewan Oiler fan. Well, it's an interesting take, and I know why you kind of presented it in that way because it's probably wildly unpopular. But Cale Makar is a great hockey player, and what's more, he's truly unique. Now, I respectfully don't agree with you. I think McDavid is unique as well, but I do get your point, and I think that one of the things about the Edmonton Oilers that makes them different than Colorado is that their strength is up the middle, but at center ×2, whereas Colorado has that really nice center defense combination, and it's a big deal. And then the two teams are both trying to figure out, what the heck happens in goal. Speaking on McDavid's contract, how much does NHLPA have impact or effect with this, given how they want the players to take most money every time and no team-friendly deals? I question how much McDavid would sign for if we lived in a tax-free state. I know that idea exists, but it's like a pie. So the players who probably are worried about McDavid taking all the money are the people who are going to get less of a piece of the pie. The pie is only so big. So in the olden days, it was like, set the market high. And for the best players in the league, setting the market high is great, but there's only so much of the pie. So all the best players in the league are doing is costing money for guys who are, 6 and 7 defensemen and backup goaltenders, in my opinion. So Twang Tuesdays are going to be replaced by Tarps Off Tuesdays from Cat Dad. No, I wouldn't do that to you. This is a long one. I don't know how much of this I'm going to read, but I'm going to try, Jeff. I totally agree with you, Al, about people who complain about the Oilers. Yeah, there was a decade of darkness, and in the 45 years the team's been in the NHL, they have won 5 cups. Been to the final, is it 9 times? 83, 06, and then 2 more is 9. Wow. That's an outstanding record. Look at the poor old Maple Leafs. They won their last cup 58 years ago, and they haven't been to the final since. I used to come and do an astronomy piece with my youngest 2 kids, grade 6 teacher. After they moved on to junior high and high school, I would still come in and help the teacher's grade 6 astronomy unit. He was a hardcore Leafs fan. Maple Leafs, I can't read that word.
It's supposed to be paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia, sorry, in his classroom. I'd always get a dig at him when I introduced myself. It was the guy with gray hair and had some obvious mileage on my face. I would inform the kids that when I was in grade 6, a special thing happened. It was the last time the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. That bit doesn't get old. Cheers, Jeff. It was so long ago, I don't remember the Stanley Cup victory by Toronto. I remember they traded Frank Mahovlich the following year during the season, and I remember that because it made my dad so mad. To Saskatchewan Oilers fan, that hurt me in my brain. Hey, Lowetide, would you please promote your YouTube channel? Yeah, I do. If you're on Twitter, I've tweeted it out. I'll tweet it out again. Where the dickens is it? I have so many things open. How many things do you have open?
How many tabs?
Yeah.
little bit slower today. So on this first computer here, I have, hold on, 4, 8. I have 13 on this one, and I have 4 on the second monitor.
Okay, well, then I'm clearly, what the hell? That didn't work. Repost. What the? Oh, you deleted the post that I'm trying to retweet.
No, I didn't delete anything.
Okay, well, I'm out there. I know I tweeted it out, but it says I didn't. Well, this is terrible radio, so I'm going to go back to what I was doing, and I'll tweet it out a little bit later. 18 years, 16 million AAV. That's what Declan says Kaprizov is going to get. Dennis, still a Browns fan. Do you think he'll get that much?
Yeah, man. I think they really, really like him. He's young. I don't see any reason they wouldn't give him the most amount of term and the most amount of money they could. And here's the other thing. Like, you don't have to be the best player in the world to be the highest paid player in terms of AAV. You just have to hit the market at the right time.
Right.
And he's going to hit the market at the right time. He is hitting the market at the right time.
Right. I did retweet it out.
What do you think Kaprizov would get?
Oh, I mean, it would be 15. So it's not like it's a huge difference. But that just seems like, what's the current highest contract?
Well, Leon has it in terms of AAV at 14.5.
Well, I like Leon better than Kaprizov. Maybe I'm alone in that.
No, he's better for sure.
Okay.
All respect to Kaprizov. He's better. But again, Kaprizov hit the free agent market a year later, right?
Yeah. People wondering about this at 126. Next weekend, next Friday and Sunday. So that's what the 12th and 14th, the rookies play. And Gregor just tweeted this out. Vets report on the 17th to Oilers camp. First on ice session is on the 18th. First preseason game is on the 21st. And what the Oilers, this isn't the Oilers' fault. I have this argument with people every year. I just want to get out in front of it. When you text me and you're mad as hell that you're getting the Oilers playing in Vancouver and you're getting the Canucks play-by-play team, that's not the Oilers' fault. That's Sportsnet not sending anybody on the road to do the Oilers are a team that has been in the Stanley Cup final twice in a row, and they still don't send a team out there to broadcast it. Gene Principe sometimes doesn't show up for like certain games early in the year. It is a catastrophe, in my opinion. It really is. Oilers fans deserve better. They deserve the whole kit and caboodle, the entire gang, for all the preseason games that are televised, and then they deserve Gene there every time. Gene is a part of this entire presentation. He's well loved. He should be there. That's my opinion. Nobody's paying me, but I'm being paid, but not for that. But it's important, like the when you do that, you make what you do less, and you should be making it more. Geez, I'm getting, this is 2 days in a row that I ripped on different medias. Who can I go after next? I haven't picked on the CBC for a while. Maybe we could do that. No, I think that's it for today. Maybe I'll go after somebody tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I'm not going there. I am not going there. Propane Tim says our Oiler fans deserve an actual quality color guy on TV. I like everybody. I will tell you, I think Bob Stauffer does an outstanding job between periods, and even, I know Bob. I'm just saying that he doesn't pay me to tell you this, but I think he's really good. Like, he's exceptional, and I think that he would be a reason to tune in on the broadcast on television if they had him every second period. I'm going to also say that I think Craig McTavish is terrific when he's on there. I love Mac T. I love Jason Strudwick. I like Joaquin Gage. I like them all. And so, like, I'm it's a hard job too. Like, I know that people are like, sometimes they get mad at Louis DeBrusque, but the things that you say during a broadcast are in real time and what occurs to you and what you are thinking. And then, after the game, somebody will say, you spent 15 minutes ripping on this, but that's what That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to talk about what you're thinking. I can hear it again. You can.
Can you hear it now?
You can talk about what you're thinking, and then at the end of the game, whether it be positive or negative towards the team, that's immaterial. You saw the play, you described the play. That's the job. Bob isn't the color guy on TV. Lou is. I just talked about it. I think you're asking. I think you're asking for analysis during the play-by-play by the color guy, and I understand that, but I think he is focused on the play. Between periods is when you get your 10,000-foot analysis. Again, I would give you an example. Ken Brown was a friend of mine. He was a good guy. Rod Phillips, I love Rod Phillips, always will. They had a terrific relationship. Rod was, for my generation, he was the voice of the Oilers. So many great moments in my time listening to the Edmonton Oilers came from Rod Phillips, from Tony Hand coming to training camp and whatever year that was, 1988, and absolutely blowing away everybody, and Rod describing that to Stanley Cup victories. Rod Phillips was the voice of the Edmonton Oilers for me. Even though he's radio, he was my guy. And I knew him. I worked with him. And he was a fabulous human being. Ken Brown had an ability to work with Rod, inform the audience, but never actually get in the way. And I'm going to give you an example. Grant Fuhr made Rod Phillips says, Grant Fuhr makes a fantastic stop, impossible save. And Ken Brown says, yeah, it hit him. And the reason I say that is because Ken Brown was a goalie. So Ken Brown knew that Grant Fuhr was in the right position. And Rod talked about what a great save it was, and it was a great save. But Ken Brown gives you his opinion on top of that, but it's very quick. And that's what Louis has to do. He doesn't get a massive canvas in which to I get 2 hours a day. Louis would love that. I guarantee it. So I know that sometimes you're frustrated, but with respect to Edmonton Oilers fans, you're always frustrated with the color guy. You didn't like Drew Remenda. So I would respectfully suggest that what you're asking of the color guy is more available between periods. And I say no more. Can you imagine a world in which the Oilers picked up Matthew Tkachuk instead of Puljujarvi 4th overall? I have a feeling we'd have 2 or 3 cups right now. I can tell you that people in the hockey industry have told me that would have been the difference maker. And they said it at the time. You're trying to be too kind. Louis talks way too much and says too little. I think you've just heard him a lot. That happens, People get tired of people. I'm shocked I'm still here. Yeah. Thanks, Declan. Maybe you don't want to say same so loudly next time.
I wanted you to hear.
Well, at least you didn't turn off on the mic this time. Stauffer and Principe are Bush League. Stauffer may have a good memory, but both present as amateurs. Oilers deserve better. From Will. That's just simply not true. Gene Principe, he is perfect for the broadcast. And you can say his props and other things are two-way out there, but that's his shtick. And it works. It's funny. He's an appealing guy. Gene is probably the kindest guy in media. And I admit there are people who could not pull it off, but Gene does. And he's part of the broadcast. And they should have him on every one of the broadcasts. Everyone. Even if the Oilers are on the road in the preseason, damn it, make that happen. Put Speck on there. Put them all on there. Do it. That's the right thing to do. Don't make me be Wilfred Brimley. And about Stauffer, I just totally reject that. Stauffer is His information, I think people wait for, listen for, and value. And believe me, that's important to a broadcast. And I'll tell you why. Because people will change their schedules. They won't pee if they know Bob's on. They'll go, okay, I'll wait to go to the bathroom because Stauffer's coming on, and then I'll go to the bathroom. That tells you how valuable somebody is. And I've had enough people tell me they really appreciate Bob that I believe that to be true. I also believe it to be true about Mac T and about Joaquin Gage and about Jason Strudwick. Their between periods guys are really, really good. Trust me on this. I have no reason to tell you differently. The Vancouver Canucks broadcasts are also excellent. They are. I've always thought they were top drawer, and I believe that to be true. Okay, I've had my say. It's 1:35, and on the way, it's Declinations. We're going to talk Canadian Football League and a massive weekend for the Elks. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
I'm a little hungry.
Last longer with regular maintenance and service from the pros at Weiss Johnson. Visit weiss-johnson.com to book your service or provide you with an estimate for a new furnace, air conditioner, or hot water tank that is long past its prime.
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. It hurts me to interrupt It's Raining Men, one of the all-time best. ALT, thank you for saying top drawer. My wife says it's not a real saying. It's actually top shelf. I agree with you because I also say top drawer. From Jake in the house in St. Albert. Yeah, it's top drawer. Top drawer. That's an old-timey phrase, though. I mean, your wife is probably younger than you. So it goes like that. Time for Declinations, brought to you by Elks Nation. 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth Double E football coverage available. I know he knows his stuff because he talks about it nonstop on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. And now the real deal, Declan Krueger talking CFL and Elks. Sir.
Well, you know, the real deal was Eddie Steele's nickname.
Yes. But I was working it in.
No, I know. That's pretty, it's clever though.
Well, I mean, you know.
Ooh, big one for the Elks this weekend,
Oh
Lowetide.
my God, that's huge.
Big one. I mean, I think if they lose this one, it's probably curtains. Even, and you know what I've been preaching for the last little while is the crossover, right? Like I think the crossover is very much in play. The East is very weak. The second best team in the Eastern Division is 5-6. You know, obviously you just need to leapfrog those bottom two teams over there. But it feels like if you lose this one, because if you lose this one, you got Toronto and Hamilton the next two. Those seem winnable. But then to round out the season, you have Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Calgary, and I believe you have, and you got BC one more time as well. So it's like it's pretty tough sledding if you lose this one and move to 4-8. And the Elks, I don't know. Like, listen. They got it. Cody needs more protection back there. And there have been a lot of texts coming in about like, should Trey Ford get a nod here? Should Trey Ford be a guy who, you know, because of his movement and his mobility, he should go in there because the offensive line can't protect Cody and he's being forced to move around. And it's like, okay, well, if you put Trey back there because, you know, he has more of an ability to move around, well, that's only good if you can make a play happen when you're moving around. And Trey kind of has shown a tendency to not do that. Now, can he scramble and get out of the pocket? Yes. Would he be able to do that in spots? Yes. Maybe even more often than not. Yes. But that's not really conducive to sustainable drives. And here's the thing. When a quarterback does stay in the pocket, which is what, you know, they're supposed to do, which is what you would like them to do, Cody makes the better play. So I don't know why it's even a conversation. It's not even a conversation for the Elks. Like they're not even thinking about going with Trey Ford. There's a reason he's the backup quarterback right now. But I just don't like the narrative around fans because of, you know, with Cody just brings such a sense of calmness and such a sense of composure to the quarterback position that Trey didn't have.
Well, and he won the job. Like that's the and they're not going to, like, how many times in the last 5 weeks have they been like really like blown out or clearly the second best team?
Once. Yeah, and it was the Calgary game.
Yeah.
And so that brings us to, you know, this rematch here. First of all, expect the crowd to be popping. They're saying 30,000, which is awesome. This is the type of game you'd expect the crowd like that for. I'm really looking forward to the environment there. I can't wait to go to the game. When you look at actual keys to the game, the biggest thing is you got to protect Cody Fajardo. You cannot have him happy feeding around there. You cannot be getting blown up at the line of scrimmage and allowing the penetration that Edmonton was allowing. Because the one thing, like, you need your offensive line in run sets to be going forward, to be initiating contact, to open things up for Justin Rankin. But even when they tried to do that, Calgary they have such a defense. I got to give them a lot of credit because I didn't think they were going to have anyone on that defense. And all of a sudden they got an interior defensive lineman who might win Defensive Player of the Year in Jalen Hutchins. He's incredible. So you got to give them a lot of respect, but you still need them to be going forward, creating holes. You can't have them playing nervous. You can't have them getting blown up. They went out and they got Carter O'Donnell, a guy who spent 5 years in the NFL. Now, I think the plan is for him. I'm going to go down to Elks practice tomorrow and have a chance to talk to Coach Killam and talk to some of the guys there. I'm really looking forward to that. But I think the plan is for Carter O'Donnell to be playing, and anywhere he can slide in, you would think. Now, he's probably going to come in on the right side and take over, I would think, for Krueger or Brett. I don't know if they prefer him as a guard or as a tackle, but that seems to be the side that needs the most help. You need something to counteract that Calgary defensive line and the pressure they get, you know, from the interior with Jalen Hutchins, but really from the edge as well. And I think Carter, it's a tough task to come up here and then 6 days later say, by the way, you're playing now in a game we really need to win. But I wonder if that's the situation they throw him into. More likely than not. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. More likely than not, you would think they're not, because it's just too much to put on his shoulders. But if they do go that direction, you certainly understand why. Calgary is a team that offensively in that game ran the ball down Edmonton's throats. Like, Dedrick Mills kind of did whatever he wanted whenever he got the ball. Edmonton went out and signed a defensive lineman, Jordan Williams, guy who used to play at Clemson, was with Toronto for the past couple of years. I don't expect him to draw into the lineup, but you need to take away Calgary's running game, because as good as I think VA has been this year, and I do think VA has been a great quarterback this year, if Calgary doesn't have a run game, all of a sudden you have to resort to the pass game. I'm not breaking any news here. But VA, as good as he's been, and I'm not saying VA is some guy who's going to throw an interception like Nathan Peterman or make a bad throw every third throw, because he's not, because he's really composed. But he does have 8 interceptions this year. Like, we do see him turn the ball over a little bit more than he maybe should, or maybe you would expect from a team that's in the standings where Calgary's at. So if you can force VA, you got to force them to pass by taking away the run game. But then you also got to make VA uncomfortable. You got to get there with blitzes. You got to have trust in your edge rushers to win one-on-one matchups and get to the quarterback. And this is all easier said than done, because Calgary is a very good team. But I just think these are some of the things you need to look for. And I do think if Edmonton loses this one and goes to 4-8, then all of a sudden we're probably looking at a season that feels a little bit over.
Does Ford start after
this
game?
It's funny. Well, here's the thing, because it's funny. If they lose, they go to 4-8. They'll be 0-6 versus the West, and 4 of their last 6 games will be against the West. 1 against Saskatchewan, 1 against Winnipeg, 1 against BC, 1 against Calgary, all who, have beaten you this year already. So if you feel like playoffs are unattainable, and if you feel like you truly have nothing to play for, then you probably do go with Trey. But this is the thing. I think if they lose this one, they go to 4-8. You have 2 against Toronto and Hamilton. That's a team you just beat in Toronto recently, and that's a team in Hamilton that you probably should have won. So you have 2 games there that feel very winnable. So I think if you lose this one, I don't think you go away from Cody yet. I think you wait until after those Toronto-Hamilton games, and then I think if you lose one or obviously both of those, then maybe you look to Trey. But this is, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just had one follow-up. You continue, and then I'm going to follow up.
Sorry, I'll make this real quick. This is the thing with Trey, if you want to go with him. Do you really feel like he is the quarterback of the future? Because if you don't, there's no point in playing him.
Well, you just took my answer, or took my question away, because that was my question, is how many more he's the quarterback of the future's periods are we going to have? Because this would be, how long has he been hanging around waiting to be the quarterback of the future? At some point in time, you're too long at the fair, and now you're an older player.
Yeah, exactly. Like first overall pick in 2022. He's already 27, so it's not like he's, 21, 22. And Camrose Chris has been pushing hard for Trey. I like Trey. I'm a fan of Trey. And it's tough for me to admit this, because Camrose Chris texts and he says, we don't know. That's the point of playing him.
Well, I think at some point you do know.
I think we kind of do know.
And look, I'm on team Trey Ford.
Yeah, I like Trey a lot, but I think we kind of do know. And here's the other thing about the quarterback situation in Edmonton. Cody's older. He's 33, but that's not 39.
Well,
that's
in CFL, you're mid-career 33.
Yeah.
No.
And if Cody has, because Trey signed a 3-year this is the first year of a 3-year contract extension. If Cody's plays, well to round out the season and looks, which he's played well to this point. And if he looks, sorry, I got to sneeze. Hold on. Sorry about that. But he's played well. He looks competent. There's no reason he can't do that for another 2 years. And then you get to the end of Trey's contract and you're like, what are we doing now?
Is it possible to get a YouTube like replay of the sneeze? Yeah. All right. No, we don't have to do it now, but I wouldn't mind having that in the, available to
clip
throw
that.
on. Yeah.
Clip that, Josh.
Yeah.
Listen, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I think I was kind of done talking about the quarterbacks. Shanked one texted and he says, why do we not pitch the ball to the Rankins so we can go to the outside? You don't seem to see this easy play anymore. Well, Shanked one, a big reason I think they haven't done that is, one, they don't trust. So generally, like on pitch plays, what you would love is your slot to come back and crack the edge. You also generally want a pulling guard they can follow. And I think they probably have a lack of trust in those two things happening to be running plays like that.
Would you agree though they need to get Rankin the ball more?
I think Rankin's their team MOP. I think Justin Rankin is the team's best player right now. I think he, could have 800 yards rushing, 800 yards receiving. I think when he gets the ball in his hands, he is a playmaker and he does a lot of great stuff. The problem is, I do think, to Shanked One's credit here, because he talks about getting him the ball to the outside, letting him make plays. One, he's not really an east-west back. But two, I get what he's saying, because when he does go north-south, there's a bit more of a tendency for that offensive line to be blown up at the point of contact. And if they blow up Edmonton's offensive line and get into the backfield, then I don't care how good you are. If you got two guys who've split the A gap the second you get the ball, you're not going to do anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I don't know. I think Jordan Maksimic has called the games a lot better compared to the beginning of the season. And I think part of that is probably he's more comfortable calling the game for a conventional quarterback than a guy who you need to put a lot of RPOs and a lot of read options in for in Trey Ford. But yeah, I don't know. Listen, it's must win.
I mentioned.
I say I don't know a little too much. I should probably stop that.
Don't worry about it. The problem with focusing on saying I don't know too much is then you say it more. Trust me on this. I've been in radio since 1980. Just ignore everything and do what you do. It's better. Now, I mentioned to Gregor the other day when we were talking on Tuesday. I said I didn't like that they went deep 2 times in a row.
That was
and
terrible.
he said that he liked it. That he liked them going deep. He just didn't like that they went deep that way and they've got injured receivers. So I want to ask you, I appreciate you agree with my original point, but let's take Gregor's point, which is they should be going deep more, not necessarily 2 times in a row, but they should be going deep more, especially when they get these wideouts back. That should be part of the game. You stretch out the defense a little more.
Yeah. Well, for those 2 plays, first of all, you had it 1st and 10 from Calgary's 25. There was 32 seconds left on the clock, which is a lifetime in the CFL. You didn't need to go to the end zone twice to try and score there. Yeah. The first one, if you want to take a shot, if it's a good look, okay, I get it. I can live with that. The second one was forced into triple coverage. It was ridiculous. You should have just moved the ball. You had time to go underneath. You had time to get yards. I didn't like it. Now, to your point, yes. The problem is, I think they sometimes maybe don't trust their receivers' ability to high point balls, which is a big part. Like Benjamin Victor is a really big target. You would think he gets ISO'd in those situations, but we haven't really seen him do that yet.
No.
And then some of the guys who you think of as the premier receivers, like Steven Dunbar's a slot. He's not running too many. Like he's not put in too many situations where he's forced to high point the ball along a sideline. And then Curly, Kaon, that's not really their style of game. So did that answer the question? I don't even really remember what the question was.
Well,
I don't think I answered it. I think I just talked about the receivers, but
no, you did where you, I think you said, yeah, you can do it, but there has to be confidence from the quarterback that the receiver can make the play.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So I think you answered it.
And just one last one from the rig here. He talks about the Elks defense being banged up. Serezna, Brinkman, Morgan, Anderson. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. I mean, those are now Serezna and Brinkman hadn't probably been playing up to the par you want them to play to this year, but those are still 4 marquee names, right? Mm-hmm. And anytime you have a defense who's banged up like that, going against a team in Calgary that they may not be the most high flying offense in the world, but they are definitely comfortable and poised. And if you don't have guys who can take Calgary's offense out of their comfort zone, then you're in trouble.
We had Camrose Chris say good analysis, totally agree. And Walter say Trey Foyd is a bust as a quarterback. I'd like to make him a slot receiver. I think that you don't want to do that at this point in his career, but I think we're almost at a point where we can question about whether or not he's going to be the starting quarterback next year and what that might look like and where they might go for a backup if it's Fajardo as the starter. All right. Enjoyed today, as we always do. Tomorrow, Steve Lansky, Tyler Uremchuk will be on. And of course, we'll have Declanation's top 5 from Declan as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. Gregor on the way. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Play Alberta is an all-new app. Download it and get boosted odds on all the big games. Plus, play casino games, grab lottery tickets, and try some quick and easy instant games all on your phone. That's PlayAlberta.ca. The Edmonton Elks have signed defensive lineman Jordan Williams. He spent 2 seasons with the Argos, where he was a Grey Cup champion last year. And over the course of his career, he suited up for 19 games with the Argos, recording 22 tackles and 2 sacks. According to reports, the Eagles tried to push for a trade for Micah Parsons, but it was rejected by the Dallas Cowboys. Amari Cooper has retired earlier today, according to his agent, and Nick Bonito signed a 4-year extension with the Denver Broncos. The MLB will get going at 2:10 today with the Phillies and Brewers. Dodgers and Pirates at 4:40 in the late game today. 5:40 we'll see the Yankees in Houston taking on the Astros. And in the U.S. Open women's singles semi today, it's Ariana Sabalenka and Jessica Pegula at 5, and Naomi Osaka and Amanda Anisimova at 6. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. See